everyone, my name is Webweaver, and welcome back to another episode of It's Look Who It Is. We do need to be a little quick on this episode because I waited too long to record this, but I will say, the patch notes dropped, and I haven't read them yet, and I'm gonna read all of them later with a friend, but I wanted to see how my jobs were affected, because they really should just take Pictomancer out back and shoot them in the back of the head, but, I just finished reading what they did with Pictomancer and White Mage, and White Mage, you know, I was just expecting to be an innocent bystander, but White Mage is based now. I did have a mini heart attack. I thought we were going back to the good old days, when I saw that Glare had been buffed, but then they buffed Glare by 10 potency, and then they buffed Afflatus Misery by 40 potency, so it's like, thank God it's still neutral. Thank God for that, but, we almost, no, the White Mage changes are, like, overwhelmingly incredible. Like, I've been wanting some of these changes for 80 years. I didn't know Divine Caress had a lower range than Temperance, which is so weird because they're the same button. It's like, after you use Temperance, you then unlock Divine Caress. And it's like, I don't know, I would expect, I don't know, I would expect them to have the same range because Divine Caress is an augmented ability to Temperance, but, well, it's not an augmented ability, but it's like, you know what I mean. Dawn Trail, all of the expansions kind of did these things where they had, like, a theme that they were going for, you know, like, Endwalker was trying to, like, streamline things, and Dawn Trail was adding, abilities that changed from one ability to the other. And so you have, like, stuff like Pictomancer, where you know, you paint, and then you can activate it, and then you can use it, right? So you have to paint it, activate it, and then use it. And then you have, like, Viper, where you have, like, 2 buttons that you have to alternate, and they change into different combos based on which, series of buttons you press. Right? So it's like, Dawn Trail was doing this thing where they basically gave every job, like, a ability that augments into another ability. So, for instance, for White Mage, it's Divine Caress, where after you use Temperance, your big ability, you then gain the ability to you gain the option, Temperance, the button, turns into Divine Caress. Or something like, Gunbreaker, where you get your new combo after you use, I don't know, Blood Feast? I don't know what it is. It's the one that gives you 3 bullets. That one turns into an ability that then turns into 3 different abilities, and you just spam all 3 of them in a row, because it's a really strong combo. But, I actually haven't looked at Gunbreaker yet. I haven't looked at Reaper either. I've only looked at Pictomancer and White Mage, which are the 2 characters I play the most. Speaking of characters I play the most, let's do it. Let's do it, chat. It's real. Let's, you know what? All perks, why not? It'll be funny. Random, all perks. We can do a little Cthulhu as a treat. Eldritch, of course it's Eldritch Parasite. Of course it's Eldritch Parasite. You know what? Now I really am gonna read these patch notes so that when I inevitably die 5 minutes later, into the run, it's actually, we've been reading patch notes for 10 minutes, but like, you know, Pictomancer, I was expecting them to take out back and shoot because Pictomancer does an obscene amount of damage, a crazy amount of damage for a freaking magic caster. And all they did was, when you enter an instance duty or when you restart an encounter, all of your motifs are instantly painted, which is like, holy based. Holy based. Thank you so much, Yoshi P. Because it's like, here's the thing. It's not really, like, either you remember to paint your paintings, which you do like 95% of the time, 98% of the time, or you forget to paint your paintings, and then you're just in misery and you do nothing. So it really is just eliminating, like, I don't know, we do 40 pulls a night. It's eliminating me saying, damn it, every, like, maybe like twice a night, maybe like once a night, depends on how locked in I am. You know, that sort of thing, so it's not very, it's not a very big deal, but it's also, like, a nice quality of life. You know, Pictomancer was harder in 7.0, etc., etc. And you know what, I'll be honest, I haven't looked at the rest of the jobs yet, but just from looking at Pictomancer and White Mage, I remember they were saying that they wanted to introduce some more, like, you know, I'm pretty sure they were saying something like they want to introduce some more job complexity in 7.1, and everybody was waiting for 7.1 to shake up the balance. And it's like Pictomancer got quality of life changes and nothing else, and not even like janky, like small indie game company quality of life changes that actually ruin something, or at least I can't think of why this would ruin anything, because it's just when you spawn in an instance, you get all your motifs painted so that you don't have to press 3 GCDs really quickly in case you're in a normal... And here's the thing, this is a great thing, because it's like in Savage, or like Ultimate, I guess, you have... Like, people are gonna wait for you to paint your paintings, and you have like a 15-second cool countdown to paint your paintings anyways, so you got plenty of time even if you forgo a skull emoji. But like, if you are in a... Yeah, I'll just get another flashbacks and instantly die, thanks. If you're in a situation where you're in a normal mode, like, people are not going to wait for the Pictomancer to paint all their paintings before starting the pull. And it makes it like playing Pictomancer in normal instances where you just spawn in, like you're in a trial, you're in a normal raid, you spawn in, you just immediately, like, people immediately pull, because, like, everybody just wants to... I'll take the Doom. I'll take the Doom, chat, I will. You know, you just immediately spawn in, and everybody just goes for it, you know? So... I mean, I was gonna get rid of the bottle of water instead of the painkiller, because we can't drink the bottle of water for healing, but, you know, we can't drink the painkiller for healing either, so I'm just gonna... Yeah, we're just gonna get rid of that real quick. I mean, sure, power level Miku. We got 3 dexterity from that 4 Doom. Isn't that cool? But, yeah, no, so Pictomancer just being, like, objectively better to play in normal content, which, I'll be honest, I completely forgot about, because I already have all my gear. I've already grinded for all the tomes that I needed. I'm just waiting to get my final piece of loot from M3S, and then I'm 730. I'm eye level 730. So I'm just waiting for that. I literally need one more augmenting clothing thing, and then I'm good to go. I've got 730. So I don't need any more tomestones, so I'm not playing Pictomancer in normal content. And so I kind of forgot that, yeah, I did just kind of forgo skull emoji. I don't know, let's do that, I guess. I did just kind of forgo skull emoji about the fact that I, whatchamacallit. I don't know why I did that. I should have just done Doom, to be honest with you. But I didn't. Oh, this is gonna suck. Mansion's doomed, huh? Mansion's doomed, you piece. Get this shit out of my inventory. It does nothing. We don't have a flashlight. It doesn't do anything. Actually, one of them literally doesn't do anything. It's just for lore and aesthetics and the story. Disgusting. For legal reasons, that was a joke. But, ooh, small candle's actually kind of interesting. But, this isn't the one, this is the one where it, like, goes back under and it's like, oh, that's a little disturbing. We could just roll a 1. We could just roll, yeah, we could just roll a 1. We could just roll a 1, chat. Many people are saying this, but I actually kind of forgot how annoying it was to play Pictomancer in normal mode, because people will just instantly pull, and then you'll just be like... Because here's the thing, when you are out of combat, you instantly paint your paintings. When you're in combat, you have to, like, actually cast your paintings, and they take, like, 2.5, 3 seconds each. I think the scenic painting takes, like, 3.5 seconds. It's, like, a super long cast bar. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe this is why I'm a blue parser, is I don't actually know how long my abilities take to cast. That's probably one of the reasons, right? Oh, sorry, green parser on Brute Bomber. My bad. I'm cringe. I got a cringe 47, chat. I did. How's my white mage? I don't really play white mage on my main anymore. I have to go to my freaking alt to see how good I am on white mage, how cracked I am. Median preferred average. blue, but my best is purple. So I, like, kind of know what I'm doing. But my alt's just not geared anymore, so whenever I do anything, I get, like, blues at best. Kind of sucks. And my white mage is just not geared at all on my main account. But, because I've just been playing to raid, you know? And I've been raiding as a Pictomancer. Listen, man-eating plant, you can go to hell, buddy. You can go to hell and you can die there, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, is this even worth anything? Does this do something? 70-70? No. 170% chance? I mean, it's the gambling arc, you know? You would doubt the gambling arc for 5 seconds? But yeah, Pictomancer just getting a quality of life change is actually very surprising, because I thought they were going to nerf Pictomancer into the ground. But then we look at White Mage, my beloved, my original main, and I still do play White Mage a lot. It's just that I still love White Mage, but so I have to kind of preface this with something, because a lot of people aren't going to understand what I'm talking about. So the game uses a GCD system, a global cooldown system, where basically whenever you use an ability, all of your abilities that are on the global cooldown go on cooldown for a set amount of time, but that ability, that individual spell, can actually come off of cooldown faster. So what you can do with Glare, which is our bread and butter, spammable filler GCD damage spell, where your goal is just to cast Glare as many times as possible because it does the most damage out of your kit. Depending on your ping, use Dia every 26 to 28 seconds, and, you know, obviously you want to use your Afflatus Misery under damage buffs, because even though it's damage neutral, 1 Afflatus Misery is worth 4 glares, and it takes 4 GCDs to get an Afflatus Misery, to hit somebody with an Afflatus Misery, because, you know, it's a GCD itself. I mean, I guess we'll just go to painting, why not, so I don't have to think. I can just autopilot a little bit. I think autopiloting on Fear Festival is a lot easier, because I just don't even realize what's happening half the time. You know, this just sucks. Oh, we don't have the bottle! We could have dodged 3 damage. You hate to see it, chat. You hate to see it. Well, we won't be running away anymore. Wow, first aid. I love this perk. It's one of the best perks in the game. Lovely. But, so, White Mage, you know, the Glare, which is our basic GCD, our basic damage GCD, it is 1.5 to a 2.5 second GCD. And what this means is that in between glares, you can use something that we call OGCDs, which, if GCD stands for the global cooldown, an OGCD would be off global cooldown. So basically, you use your glare, and then you could use a Tetragrammaton, a Divine Benison, a Temperance, Benediction, just a Swift Cast, anything that is an OGCD, you can weave once without doing something known as clipping. Because a very big part of... I guess we're just going to do this. I don't really like that. But if we lose money, then we could lose more stamina later throughout the course of, you know, Jar of Blood. So it's a little bit bad. It's a little bit of a whatchamacallit, right? So you can weave once, and weaving is what we call casting an OGCD in between GCDs. And with a 1.5 to 2.5 speed, you can weave one ability without clipping, because unfortunately there is a very funny thing, which is instant cast skills aren't instant. A very humorous thing, but we don't have to get into that. So you basically just have enough time for one OGCD in between... Oh, Aquaveil, too. That's another good OGCD. Don't forget your Aquaveils, chat. Mitigation is very important at the start of a tier, when everybody's eye level is low. And it's important for you, the healer, because you're squishy. And it's important for the magic casters, because they're also squishy. Anybody who casts magic, squishiest jobs in the game, give them Aquaveil. They won't die if somebody forgets to hit Reprisal and another person forgets to hit Feint or Addle. You can only Temperance once every 2 minutes. I'm pretty sure. Maybe that's why I'm a purple parser as a white mage. I don't know Temperance's cooldown by heart. I shouldn't say that. I get blues. My eye level is bad. If my eye level was good, though, like back in the day when it was a new tier, I was getting purples on my alt. I would say we run here, but unfortunately we can't do that. So I think we're gonna throw, and then we are going to... Honestly, I think this is something where you just have to be like, we're gonna take some damage. I think this is something you just gotta say we're taking damage. It lines up. You don't want to mess around with, like, blocking and maybe dodging or doing anything like that. So, the thing is, all jobs, or all healers, well, all jobs, have single target and AoE. So, essentially, the idea is that when you're fighting one enemy, you use your single target skills, and when you're fighting a horde of enemies, you are using your AoE skills. Now, all healers have a single target damage filler spell and an AoE damage filler spell that they can use. And for something like... I mean, I think both Art of War and... I don't remember what the Sage one is called, like Toxicon or something, right? Like, I think Art of War is an instant cast. I think some of the Sage ones are instant cast, because Sage is a little weird with its abilities. But, and then Gravity is the Astrologian one. Gravity is a cast. I think No, the Sage AoE is not a cast bar. It's also instant cast. So, Scholar and Sage have instant cast AoEs, and Astrologian has Gravity, which is a cast. But the thing is, all of these have weaving windows. All of these have weaving windows, including Gravity, which you have to cast. It has the same window as Malefic, which is an Astrologian's single target DPS filler, or damage filler spell, right? Oh, we do have Fear Festival, yo. Too bad we got roads freaking closed. I mean, we'll do it anyways. All this shit is roads closed fodder. If I wasn't focused on Final Fantasy XIV right now, all I would be doing is complaining. Just so you know, FYI, for your information. But White Mage was special in a bad way. You see, how White Mage worked was it had Holy, which is... so White Mage has Glare and Holy, right? Holy, Holy 1, and then Holy 3. There's no Holy 2, don't ask. Or maybe there's no Glare 2, and it's Glare 1 and Glare 3. I don't remember. Shit's complicated. This is probably why I'm bad at the game. But, anyways. I'm losing my mind here, chat. It's true, it's true. I mean, we're gonna do this twice, and then go for the kill, probably. I mean, we could do this, but that's too... Yeah, it's 75% chances. I don't wanna mess around with that. But we can do this, which is really nice. So, Holy took the entire GCD cooldown to cast. And, well, Glare doesn't. So Glare is 1.5 seconds with a 2.5 second GCD, and Holy was a 2.5 cast with a 2.5 GCD, right? So that means that you can't weave with Holy, which White Mage was the only healer that couldn't weave for their AoE. And it was so unnecessarily annoying. And I think they probably just made Holy a lot better, too. Well, they did make Holy a lot better. I don't really know what I meant by what I just said, because they literally did make Holy a lot better. Holy is now, and this is true, cast time has been reduced from 2.5 to 1.5 seconds. So White Mages can now weave during AoE. The most beautiful thing I've ever read. The most beautiful thing I've ever read. Did I go to the forest twice? I don't know if I did. I'm just kind of Yeah, I'm just kind of pressing the buttons when they come up. I don't know. We can't take the Doom. Look at our Doom right now. Look at our Doom right now. What do you mean the forest is dangerous? What have I done? What do you mean this is a doomed location with roads closed? What do you mean? What do you mean, chat? What do you mean? It's over! There's nothing we could do! We automatically lose the game! Haven't gone on a roads closed forest rant in a while. That's a good one. That's a classic. That's a banger. Please, be kind to me here. So, you know, maybe the other jobs got better changes, or, like, crazier changes. So let's see, Gunbreaker. I play Gunbreaker. I'm bad at Gunbreaker. I'm abysmal dog shit at Gunbreaker, okay? Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. So... 6 Doom or 5 Doom? Which way? I'm gotta take the 5 Doom. I'll be real with you. You gotta take the 5 Doom. Now, we're gonna lose, because taking any amount of Doom is you're gonna die, but... Hey, at least we have a really good stats, right, guys? We're level 3 and we have 87886. It's pretty impressive, right? It's pretty cool, right? I'm just a god gamer, honestly. Can't believe we had 4 goddamn out-of-town mysteries in every single... Look at this shit! They're both doomed! What are the odds? You got 2 doomed locations. Actually, 3 doomed locations because of the school, but... Yeah, screw it, dude. Who cares? It's free. So let's see, what happened to my favorite tank, Gunbreaker? Cure potency, Aurora. Cure potency has been increased from 200 to 300. Goated. The thing about Gunbreaker is that, from what I've seen, is that it's, like, one of the tanks that has, like, the most unhinged survivability, to the point where if you do it wrong, you're probably gonna die. And... like, you know, Warrior Warrior is the 5th healer. Warrior is a healer, but for yourself and your entire team, too. But mostly yourself, but also, like, you heal yourself a lot, like, Jesus Christ. And then Dark Knight can do a lot of burst healing. That's really good. And then Paladin has literally healing abilities, like GCD heals, and regenerates health when fighting, I believe. And Gunbreaker has Aurora and whatchamacallit, Heart of Conundrum. It's something else now, isn't it? It got a name change when it got stronger. I don't remember what it's called. Let's see. So Aurora cure potency is 200 to 300. I'm always okay with you know, Gunbreaker getting a nice buff. Super Bolide is getting a change. That's a little weird. I mean, so Super Bolide, for those of you who don't know, is the Gunbreakers, and I'm not joking when I say this, is the Gunbreakers I'm going to shoot myself in the head and become invulnerable. I'm going to get an email from YouTube for that, but is Super Bolide an ability in Final Fantasy XIV? You put your gun up to where your head is, you pull your trigger, and then you gain a shield that makes you invulnerable for 10 seconds, and your HP gets reduced to 1. It's a really, really weird ability. I'm gonna get an email from YouTube, dude. Oh. How can you talk about video game mechanics, man? It's like, oh yeah, I'm playing Persona 3. And then it's just YouTube furiously writing emails. The poor YouTube intern who has to AI generate an email like that. But... you know, basically, it sets you to 1 HP, but you can't take damage, right? And so Super Bolide is very interesting, because it's like the Paladin invulnerability, where there's 2 different kinds of invulnerability in Final Fantasy XIV. There's you don't take damage, and you don't get reduced below 1 HP. So, like, Holmgang and, Living Dead, you can take damage, it's just that the damage can't kill you. And that is meaningfully different than Paladin and Gunbreakers, where their invulnerabilities are, you don't take damage. Because there are certain mechanics where if you take damage, the mechanic triggers, but if you don't take damage, the mechanic doesn't trigger. My favorite will always be in P2S, Pandemonium Savage 2, the second circle. Pandemonium second circle Savage. Hippo, my beloved. Hippo. The Hippo. How do I put this? There was a thing where the tank would get a debuff, and they would have to stand in a very specific spot, or if they got hit, it would be like, I think it was like a knockback or something. Like, it knocked people back, and it, like, wiped the group, right? But if you had a paladin or a gunbreaker who got that, they could just run very far away from everyone else into the danger because it only triggered on damage. So they could just use their invulnerability skill and it wouldn't trigger, and then the debuff would fall off, right? So I don't really know why they're changing Super Bolide. I don't really know how they could change Super Bolide because it works really well. And even though it reduces you to 1 HP, you very, very rarely die for it. Unless you and the healer both make a mistake. Because if you have Heart of Conundrum on yourself, that triggers a burst of healing when you get below, like, what, 38% HP? And you have Aurora, and you can have Aurora going for, like, 20 seconds, and so you can use Aurora, and then Super Bolide, and then it will heal you for... I don't know how many ticks that would be. Would that be 4 ticks or 5 ticks? I'm not entirely sure. I guess it would depend on when you use Super Bolide, like what server tick you use Super Bolide. That doesn't matter. Shit doesn't matter, man. So I don't really know how they could change Super Bolide. The effect of this action will now be applied earlier. Incredible. Based as hell. No longer reduces HP to 1... Huh? And instead reduces HP to 50% of the... What? I'm sorry? I mean, it's not, like, the best invulnerability skill in the game, and the reason why it has the longest cooldown, is the Paladin one, because the Paladin becomes invulnerable with no condition. Like, they just don't take damage. And Gunbreaker, their condition was that they get reduced to 1 HP. Now they're getting reduced to 50% of maximum HP. And... I wonder if this lets you, like, 50% of maximum HP, and instead reduces HP to 50% of maximum HP. Does that heal you? Or does it deal the damage of half of your total health? And if it does the damage of half of your total health, does it, can it kill you through your invulnerability? I wonder. I wonder what the hell they just did to Super Bolide. The effect applies earlier. This is important because... So when I read the effects of this action will now be applied earlier, I understand why they did that, because... So, it's something that I said earlier, which is, instant cast skills are not instant, right? So what happens is... We really do have bullets and investigate the forest twice. I think we lose if we investigate the forest twice. For real, for real. We can probably just do that, it's fine. I think we deadass just lose if we go to the forest twice, even if we use the police station to... I mean, we lose no matter what, but I'm just trying to think, like, what are the best chances we have of winning, right? And it's definitely not whatchamacallit, but... So, basically, instant cast skills are not instant, right? So, what ends up happening is you cast an instant cast skill, or a spell, or ability, which is Super Bolide. It's an instant ability, but it has an animation that has to play, and after the animation plays, that's when the ability goes off. And so instant cast skills actually all have different, like, seconds, well, not seconds, but, like, they all have different timings, because it's how fast the animation plays. And there's no way to make the animation faster, by the way. This isn't like Dark Souls, where Dark Souls 1, where increasing your dexterity makes you cast spells faster. No. All of the animations have a set time that they take to go off, and so skills that have longer animations that are instant require more setup. And it's actually kind of cool. It's really cool. The which instant cast skills cast faster than others. I think it's a really neat thing to, like, think about. So Super Bolide, and Super Bolide is one of the slower ones, because you press it, and then your character holds their gun blade up to their face, and then pulls the trigger, and then you hear the sound effect, and then it goes off, right? So it's one of the ones that goes on longer. And I actually did kind of like that. I don't hate, like, unless it throws me off and then I die, in which case, yes, I will get mad at it, but, that's, what was I gonna say? I will get mad if it throws me off and I die, but I should probably be able to lock in and figure it out pretty easily. Got any Doom? This is just insulting. Like, this is just insulting, you know? It's kind of insulting. Yes, what would I like to pick? A bad perk or one of Miku's perks? Like, okay. I don't know, if every event gives me minus Doom, we win these. Listen, it had to be done. It had to be done. It had to be done. It had to be done, chat. It had to be done. It had to be done. We had to get that out of the way. We had to get that out of the way. It had to be done. Oh no. Did I just sell those? Or discard them? Oh, I thought this was mermaids, I'm sorry. I thought this was mermaids. I thought I had to discard 2 items. Bleh. Listen, you're gonna take 80 more billion damage. I don't even need to think about how much damage you're gonna take. Yo, box cutter stonks? Oh, shit. Thank God this location's safe. Now we just need to not take stamina damage. We need to not take stamina damage. We need to not take stamina damage. Well, I have a pretty good way of guaranteeing that I don't, take damage to you. We are actually almost there, which is very funny. But, I have to look this up, because I actually have no idea. That is not the wall wiki, if you don't mind. Yatsuhaka Shrine. I probably did not say that correctly. Also, I don't know how I read the word Mira as shrine, but I did. Doom, stamina, run, and terror. That's the one, chat. That's the one. Well, one more investigation. Very funny. I mean, listen, the other is guaranteed stamina damage. So I don't know what you wanted me to do there. Either we die, or we take sanity, or we don't, and we definitely died in that, so... That one is cursed. That event, and the one where you look at the computer, makes me feel like, difficulty is still in this game. So for those of you who don't know, in whatchamacallit, in the original version of World of Horror, which we're one of the original versions. World of Horror has a lot of original versions and a lot of beta versions. But in a very, very old version of the game that we have access to, and that we've played on the channel, by the way, Kyofu no Sekai, back in the early access series, we tried it out. Their events had difficulty. So, for instance, some events were literally just harder to do than others. And so, even though, like, the dice roll was the same, right? So, I think that that system moved on to become the threat level, like the threat level system, like dangerous, high threat, low threat, safe. But I swear to God, we fail those every single time. Like, we fail those we fail those like 80 or 90% of the time, even if we should succeed them. Like, we have a really good chance of succeeding them, we fail them every single time. The amount of time I rolled 12 on that is absurd. Like, that one, I specifically think, like, studying the newspaper and the computer, both school events, by the way, I just think of them as, like, yeah, we're gonna fail these, like, 100, we might as well just be on ill-fated. That's how I feel about those. So that is my World of Horror conspiracy theory that I believe in, which is I still believe in, like, difficulty. I believe in some events are more difficult to pass than others. My genuinely held World of Horror belief that would get me in trouble with the Shiikawan authorities. Listen, buddy, you're gonna die. Like, you're just gonna die. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You're dead. You have no idea how many ghostly spears I have in my collection. I have 34 of them. You know what? Let's give him a chance to live. If you can dodge all 4 of these attacks, you get to kill me. Let me out! Let me out! Let me save the world! No! But, yeah, no, I don't know. I was looking at the patch notes or something. Heart of Light now also reduces physical damage. Let's go! Let's go! Dog shit mitigation is made slightly better. It's usable! Yippee! For those of you who don't know, there's, like, physical damage and then there's magical damage. And some tanks, Gunbreaker and Dark Knight, for some reason, have dumbass mitigation abilities that only work on magic. And I'm pretty sure Dark Knight got changed a while ago to where it also worked on physical. And so Gunbreaker was the idiot who still had Heart of Light, which reduced magic damage by, what, like 15%? And no reduction to physical damage? So, depending on what fight you were doing, Gunbreaker was just objectively less useful than everybody else. Just for no reason, just because Yoshi P hates Gunbreaker. And now, finally, after all these years, Heart of Light now also reduces physical damage taken. Yippee! It's usable! It's usable, chat! It's usable! And listen, it's still better to use it on Magic Raid Wides. That nuance is still there. Nuance is not being taken out of the game. But it just makes, like, pubs easier, because now you can just give people a 5% and feel pretty good about that. And you don't feel completely useless when the boss does physical damage raid-wise, because you only have Reprisal. And, you know, you do have other things, but, like, you know, other tanks have better things, and then Gunbreaker just has Heart of Light. Hypervelocity. Potency has been reduced. Tragic. Potency increase from melee mastery has also been reduced, so 20 potency loss across the board for Hypervelocity. Alright. Double Down. Cartridge cost has been reduced from 2 to 1. I'm dying. I'm dying. What do you mean? What? What is the... I have to look at the Gunbreaker balance. What the hell are they saying? This is insane. This is insane. What do you mean? What do you mean Double Down is... What? So, for context, Gunbreaker has a bullet system, a cartridge system, where every time you finish a combo, your basic combo, or your basic AoE combo, you get a bullet, you get a cartridge, and you can store 3 cartridges at once. And you have a skill called Blood Feast, which gives you 3 cartridges instantly. Now, our biggest attack is Double Down. It's a nuke. It's a big... Well, actually, the new Blood Feast combo might actually be better than Double Down. I haven't looked at the potencies because, I don't know, I don't play Gunbreaker. I don't play Gunbreaker in Savage a lot, so it doesn't really matter. I just kind of press it to buttons. I press it to buttons. That's what I do. But Double Down costs 2 cartridges, and we used to only have 2 cartridge slots, but then they gave us a 3rd one, so we have 3 cartridges now, and so we would be able to do, like, a, what was it, like a Gnashing Fang combo, and then we'd be able to do Double Down. But now we're doing, like, Gnashing Fang combo, Blood Feast combo, Double Down, etc., etc. But now Double Down costs 1 bullet? A gun with 1 bullet can double down? I don't know how I feel about this, chat. Gunbreaker is such an esoteric and crazy job that if you don't play it correctly, it feels bad to play. Like, Gunbreaker is a nightmare to play. It's probably the most complicated tank to play, because if everything doesn't line up, it feels bad and doesn't function properly. So Gunbreaker is extremely gear dependent for, like, skill speed, and also it requires to be piloted very specifically, because if you mess up one thing, it feels bad to play for the entire instance. Gunbreaker sucks, but Gunbreaker is great. Gunbreaker is the best tank, but it's also the worst tank, and that's why I love it. So when they added 3 cartridges, people are like, oh god, oh no. And then now it's like double down is, when they took Gunbreaker's gap closer, they removed its potency, its damage potency. I was actually like, thank god, we don't have to double weave that during our opener anymore. And then they just gave us more GCDs to press, which is insane, but, double down costing 1 bullet is probably one of the most insane things I've ever seen in my life. Where's Reaper? I play Reaper a little bit. Here's the thing. I play Reaper casually, and I do enjoy Reaper. Reaper's a very fun job to ball with, you know, so I might be able to interpret some of these, but I'm not like a Reaper authority or anything. Arcane Circle. Circle of Sacrifice effect now also grants stacks of Immortal Sacrifice when you or your party members successfully land an ability. This is... I think it's that, like, line AoE thing that you can do, right? I'm not entirely sure, but you have to use your, like, damage buff so that you can use your thing to set up your going Goblin mode, your going Sicko mode, you're pulling your Devil Trigger mode. Void... I don't know the names of these abilities very well, so that's why I'm, you know... Void Reaping, Cross Reaping, and Grim Reaping. After learning the action Communio, the hotbar icon will no longer be illuminated when the remaining Lemur Shroud stacks are at 1. Fair enough, okay. I think I understand what that means, yeah. Executioner's Gallows. The hit direction for this action will now trigger earlier. Interesting. Okay, so Reaper just got some minor changes that I think are just like... I think these are quality of life. I think these are quality of life changes. The Lemur Shroud stacks thing is like, when you're going Goblin mode, you have like a certain amount of stacks you can spend on abilities, and basically you can use these reaping skills to do a lot of damage, but if you accidentally use one too many, then you can't use Communio anymore. So I think this is sort of like a quality of life change where it's like, hey, on your last Lemur Shroud stack, only Communio is going to be highlighted, because it used to be all of your abilities are highlighted and Communio is highlighted. And Communio is the one that you want to use 100% of the time, no questions asked, because it's way better. So... you know, there were some times when I was learning Reaper that I would accidentally use an extra reaping skill, and then I would lose Communio, and then I would curse myself out. So I think that this is all just quality of life changes for Reaper, which... it's kind of weird. I genuinely, like, maybe I gaslit myself, but I genuinely remember them saying something like they were going to change the job balance in 3.1 and sort of bring back some, like, crazy stuff. But all the jobs that I play, the 4 main jobs that I play, have all basically been completely untouched, or given quality of life that's genuinely awesome. I love every single patch looking at Red Mage and just seeing, like, all of their abilities getting potency increases by, like, 50. That's so funny, dude. Poor Red Mage. Yeah, it just seems like these are a lot of adjustments. Like, I mean, I don't know what a lot of these jobs do, but it just seems like a lot of this is just quality of life. Just making the jobs feel better to play, which, I mean... normally, I think that would be fair, but I don't know, I had expectations coming into this. Like, Gunbreaker is psycho now. Like, cartridge cost for Double Down being reduced from 2 to 1. That's gonna change. That's gonna affect the trout population. You have no idea how that's gonna affect the cartridge economy. I need to see the Gunbreaker balance and see what people are screaming about it, but... I don't know. Yeah, I got no idea. Anyways, stay safe out there. Have a good one. Bye.